Okay, you've been following world news. You've probably heard about the problems in Ecuador. The president declaring war on the cartels and car bombings and all sorts of other foolishness and lots of even crazier, baseless rumors. And let's just set record straight. The car bombings were not random. They were targeting certain government officials and people that the cartel had a beef with, primarily because of the emergency that was declared against them. And yes, the police have orders to shoot on sight the ones they're after in the cartels and gangs. Well, how does that affect me? Well, my goal all summer was to travel from Bogota to the Caribbean, all the way back down south through Colombia into Ecuador over the border. However, when I reached the Ecuadorian border 2.5 months later, it had closed. And well, the notice thereof, well, it didn't close. They made a new rule that you had to have an apostilled criminal record background check from your country, which means an FBI background check for U.S. citizens. It also has to be apostilled, which adds one more layer. But let's just say it takes weeks to get one, and I only had 2 weeks left on my visa in Colombia. So, with tears in my eyes, even worse than Arlo Guthrie, I had to come up with plan B because I didn't have a criminal background check with me when I reached the border, and customs agent told me that I was going to have to fly. Although there was a lot of confusion at the time for me because I couldn't believe that my plans were getting dashed. So this video is about how I overcame the problem to get into Ecuador legally. I did not break any rules to do this. As obviously, I could not legally cross the land border because I did not have the criminal background check. People might tell you different things about how you get around that, go across the border without one, etc., etc. However, I intend to get legal residency at some point in Ecuador, and I don't want a black mark on my record. So this video will tell you how you can do it legally too, and maybe let you laugh at me along the way if you want. So I spent the last few hours trying to come up with plan B, and I think I've gone with something that works. Apparently the rule only applies at the land borders, and you have to have apostilled background checks, FBI and your state, to legally cross the land border as an American citizen. Now, that said, it doesn't apply if you fly. So I'm going to backtrack to the next major city that has an airport. And, well, it's going to cost me several extra $100, but I don't have another solution. The Darien Gap stops me from going overland to Panama or somewhere, so I have to fly. So I might as well fly to Ecuador, where I know I can stay for a much more reasonable rent, and maybe I can recover my budget. But it is very tight, and well, that's just the way life is sometimes. In case you missed my previous videos, I was denied a crossing at the Ecuadorian border because they implemented a new rule while I was already in Moreno. In fact, I was already at the border basically. So I missed crossing the border by less than 48 hours as they had a new rule requiring me to have an apostilled FBI background check and likely my home state in the United States as well. Let's just say that would take quite a bit of time in the United States. It's virtually impossible here in Colombia. Not to mention, the State Department is on vacation for MLK weekend, and they are absolutely no help, as it says on their website. They can't help you with this. Oh, and they post a notice over 24 hours late. So I was taken by total surprise at the border. I wasn't the only one, though. While I was having breakfast at my hotel, a Mexican citizen had experienced the same problem. So I'm not alone, but it is adding several $100s in cost to my trip I did not budget for. And for a river guide, that's a pretty big deal. But hey, here I am, and I'm making the best of it. The new journey to Ecuador begins now. So all trips begin with a single step. And so far, I have ridden a taxi for 6 mil to the terminal here in Ipiales. And from here, I am taking a fancy colectivo to Pasto for a total of 20 mil. So this is a very frugal trip and kind of short. It's only a couple hours. So this is the new beginnings of my journey to Ecuador. I'm going to have to fly, which is adding several $100s to the cost of this trip that I did not expect. And so my journey begins back to Pasto, where ultimately I'll catch a flight to Bogota and from there to Quito, Ecuador. So stay tuned for more. This has been quite the adventure. This is my wonderful breakfast with a wonderful view here in Pasto. I'm not going to walk outside on the balcony because I'm hungry and can't wait that long, but I want to give you a basic idea of what my breakfast view looks like today. All right, this is a really great hotel here in Pasto, Nareno, Colombia. They even arranged my transportation to the airport for my flight to Ecuador, and they made it very simple. Okay, today I am in Pasto, and I think I have everything lined up for my flight to Bogota and Onward to Quito, Ecuador. Some things you should think of in the logistics. The basic economy will only allow you to bring on a handbag or something that fits under the seat in front of you. It won't cover carry-on. So if you're flying with a Latin American airline like LATAM, like I am, you have to buy the economy premium, which basically more or less doubles the price. Okay, maybe not necessarily, but in my case it did. Now, there's also a $35 exit fee from Colombia if you've been here for a month or less, or $66 if you've been here for longer. I got billed for $35. We'll see at the airport if they catch it and make me pay another $30 or not. I really don't care. It's no big deal. Additional concerns. When you leave Colombia, you have to complete the check MIG. You have to complete the check MIG documentation online. No big deal. It's pretty simple. That said, you no longer have to do any paperwork for Ecuador. They have scrapped all the paperwork that you had to do online for entry due to COVID. So that's easier. In fact, it's easier to travel by air into Ecuador now than it was before the crisis, or at least since COVID. So hope these tips help you. If you got questions about flying between Latin American countries, let me know. By the way, most of the time flying from one Latin American country to another, you're not challenged for an onward ticket. I suggest if you know when you're flying back, like I do, the sooner you buy it, the cheaper it'll be in most cases. For instance, my flight back to the United States from Quito, Ecuador is going to cost me less than half of what it costs to fly from Colombia to Ecuador. Part of that is Ecuador has waived exit fees. That's a new thing since last year. You can, rather than buy a full-on real ticket, you can rent one through onwardticket.com. I have used that service. Copa, they are Nazis. There are more Nazis about onward tickets than Delta. Delta you can reason with if you have an open agenda and you're going to go from country to country and they won't require it. I have done that in the past. But for $14 or $15, you get a rent a ticket, and then there's no problems. It's like insurance. It makes your life easier. If you know your itinerary, you're doing a short one, just go ahead and buy your round ticket or your return flights. yesterday when I visited this mall, it was very quiet because, hey, it was Sunday. Now it's Monday, and I have all my ducks in a row except for repacking and weighing my bags. I know I'm going to be within weight because I already checked once. But now I'm going to splurge and have a tasty craft beer at BBC. They're really good. I've visited several locations in Colombia.
Pero le dice a ella, no, es que eso es confidencial. Que ahora en este bar nos viene y nos mata, que eso es confidencial. Yo creo que eso es imagínate, entonces esas cosas son solo yo sé.
All right, so I'm all packed up and ready for my flight to Bogota and then onward to Quito. Here is my trusty carry-on bag and my water shoes. They look like real tennis shoes, but they have holes. They drain real good. Really good. Astral made that. And here's my watershed Chattooga bag. It has my compression bag with all my clothes and my meds and my chargers and cables. And in this bag, I have some local Noreno coffee for some pals in Ecuador. And here's my travel jacket. It's like a light raincoat. I have a heavier one in my carry-on bag, and my hat and a hair tie. Yeah, I'm a hippie. And a little bit more water. So I am stoked. I woke up before the alarm. I've had my shower. I am ready to go and really excited. Here are the items that I must leave behind because they're not allowed on international flights for various reasons. The nail clipper has a file that's considered a sharp object, so it can't go, and, well, liquids are self-explanatory. This will also make it a lot quicker going through security. It's like maybe little bags of shampoo would be allowable, but it'd be a hassle pulling out another bag. This way I don't have to deal with any of that. Made it to the Pasto airport. See an airplane in the background, I'm sure. Cost me 60 mil for a taxi from Pasto to this airport. It's a pretty long ride, by about 40 minutes, give or take. I wasn't paying attention. At any rate, now I have plenty of time to eat breakfast. I just ordered coffee and a snack, and then I will go through security after I enjoy that. I went to security. They told me to go back to the counter, and that the counter might send me to the police for immigration or something, but I haven't even made it to Bogota, so I'm really not sure, but I'm just going to follow instructions. He gave me written instructions to make sure there was no confusion. So I got plenty of time. That's why I got here early, because I don't know what the process is, and we'll see how the day unfolds. Okay, I'm practicing my patience and waiting, and hoping I'm in the correct line. But security told me Uno, and that's where I'm at. And the sign says premium, and I do have premium economy, so I assumed I'm in the right line. If I'm not, I guess they'll tell me, and then I'll get in the correct one. It's all good. Let's take however long it takes. Okay, the process is different than I'm accustomed to. I had to go to the counter, even though I had no checked luggage, and they pre-screened me, and then they sent me to the police station, which was right across the room, and they were really kind. All they wanted to do is see my ticket, look at my passport, and write some things down in a log. Remind me of standing quarterdeck watch to what the police did. It was pretty cool, pretty straightforward. Flashbacks. So anyway, now I'm waiting on my plane. I think today is going to be tranquilo. So, new experience. We'll see how it is in Bogota next. But I'm starting my way to Quito. And this is what it looks like at the airport. The old-fashioned way. Yeah. Very nice. All the way up front at 2C. Whoa. Okay, I have made it to the Bogota International Airport. I've checked the board. I don't see my flight on it yet. I am early because I knew this would be a confusing maze, and it was. First thing that really tripped me out was you don't get a physical stamp out. Roby the robot at a gate scans your passport to see if you're allowed into the international zone. Once it identifies you by scanning your eyes, then it asks you for your flight number. And when that matches up, then the gate opens. And that apparently electronically checks you out of the country. Now, finding this was rather confusing from the domestic arrivals for my flight from Pasto. And if you don't speak any Spanish, it'll be really confusing for you. So good luck. I had to get explanations twice, once in Spanish, which I understood, but I was questioning whether I was electronically checked out, and once by a nice Colombian that assured me, yes, indeed, I had been electronically checked out and did not need an exit stamp. So here I am. I have plenty of time to kill. I'll find something to eat, and I'm going to keep watching the boards to find out what my gate is. I guess I'll find out sooner or later. Well, it would seem that there are some new followers out there finding my current video shorts and making some rather disparaging comments. And apparently they don't get the whole theme of this channel or my personality. Hey, I have people following this channel that have known me for decades. I have a sense of humor, and I'm rather jovial. And all I'm taking to Ecuador with me is some love and money, and I plan to contribute to the country. I'm not taking anything away. I'm not there to extract money like some gringos. I'm there to have fun and share some love with la gente, the people. So if you're trying to crush my chill, it's not going to work. And I don't wear hippie clothes. I have quick dry stuff. I can't afford those fancy hippie clothes. I'm a dirtbag. I actually work for a living. I'm not a trust fund kid. So peace out, get a life, if you're one of those trolls. For everyone else, hey, I'm not going to listen to your nonsense. I'm going to keep doing my own thing. And that's the reason I think that a few thousand of you are following me. So leave some comments, show me some love, or let me know what you do or don't want to see in the future. Even going onto the loading ramp is different in Bogota. But it's still all good. Final leg to Quito begins. It's almost time to take off. We're loading. So it was even more chill. The plane was practically empty. And customs, or immigration, was even more empty. It was super easy peasy. There was fewer people than during the pandemic. So I'm stamped into Ecuador. So my journey or quest to get into Ecuador has been successful. So now I'm going to find a taxi. I'm looking for an ATM first to get a little more cash and some small bills. Okay, and I'm staying at a hostel. It's less than 3 miles away from the airport. And while you could flag the bus down, it was suggested it would be in my best interest to go to the airport and catch the bus, which I think will be easier anyway. I have done it that way in the past. So, all right, this is my room that I got near the airport. It's Hostel Marcel Sucre. It is named for a fallen figure from the War of Independence. Sucre was assassinated in Bolivar's waning days by a greedy politician that was trying to seize power. At any rate, this is a really nice room. It has hot water, has a bathroom. By the way, if you are traveling by bus like me, it's a damn good idea to have some toilet paper with you at the bus terminals. It's not always a given that they'll be there, and you will have to pay for it. This costs $35. The taxi ride here was $12, which I think is grossly overpriced. However, the taxi drivers are really, really hurting because No one's coming to Ecuador. It was dead. It was very quiet at the airport. I didn't argue. I gladly gave the taxi driver $12 because I know his livelihood and family depends upon it. So I didn't even barter. I'm sure on normal times it would be much cheaper. That said, this is a pretty good room, and it would have cost a hell of a lot more money to get a taxi all the way to Otavalo last night. And the sun's coming up. I got up a little bit early. I just woke up naturally without the alarm clock. There's some friendly cows over in the field next door. Really nice place. You could probably catch a bus right out that way is where the highway is. You can probably catch a bus there, flag it down. But I've been told it's safer to go back to the airport. And I'm sure the Shell drivers are hurting too. So I'll spend a few dollars. Besides, I need to go to an ATM. I need a SIM card. I'm probably going to pick up my SIM card in Otavalo to make sure it's more economical. There are also other hotels nearby. Here I am near the airport at a hostel. I think it was a great choice. I was really tired and I got to bed just after midnight. So this was pretty nice. And now I'm all charged up and ready to go. I'm going to do my usual deal. I suspect it will cost less than $10 to take the public bus to the southern terminal, Carcelen, and then from there it'll probably be $5 or so, I don't remember, back over to Otavalo. So I will cover that too. So stay tuned and do consider Ecuador. People are very kind, and I will give you a lot of videos to let you know what the current situation is. But if you know the layout of the land, it's not that hard to avoid the dangerous places. The watershed Chattooga bag isn't just a great tool for carrying your first aid kit while you're working. Yeah, that's where I carry some of my professional tools on the job, on the Coe River, every day during the summer while I work. It's also a really, really great personal item. It fits under the seat in any airplane I have flown. And my nice bag, backpack, fits up and overhead. So this is how I travel, carry on only. I have all my clothes in here, some meds and some other important things. You can see by the size of my foot, it's not huge. It does indeed fit under the seat. So hey, this is a free shout out to Watershed. They don't sponsor me or give me any money, but hey, they take care of me and they really warranty their products. And they have given me great customer service. So here's a shout out to Watershed in Asheville. Check them out. Hotel Marcel, Sucre. I know I've been calling it a hostel. It feels like one. That's a good thing, really. It has a nice vibe to it. Apparently, it is 24-hour desk service. They're away right now, busy. Probably giving somebody a ride to the airport. I really think this is a great place, and it's very close to the airport. And I would recommend staying here if you don't want to pay an exorbitant fee for a really long taxi ride when you arrive at the airport. I personally prefer to go to Otavalo rather than Quito, but each their own. You can get a ride to Quito for less than you can to Otavalo, but hey, the rooms are really expensive in Quito, and I don't particularly like big cities. I'm getting a ride to the airport so I catch my bus. The ride from the hotel back to the airport was free. Maybe I should have gotten a free ride last night, but hey, I don't mind supporting the local economy. Now I need to hit the ATM. They have some small bills and spending money for my coming day. Choose your bus at the airport. Make sure you get on the correct one for the north or the south terminal. If you're headed south, you want the Quincy. And if you're headed north like I am, you want the Carcelen. Easy peasy. $2. Okay, here I am at Carcelen bus terminal. by the taxi line. I just got off the local city bus. You need to be very careful here. I know I'm carrying my phone out, but you should keep an eye on all your gear, or better yet, keep your hand on it, and probably keep your phone in your pocket. But you'll see me and locals using our phones. You just need to be aware. First, I have to go to the Banos, so I really need it. And then I'm going to get a ticket to Otavalo. I should have been choosier about which company I wanted to fly with. This one, I'm going to have to pay attention. I am almost certain they do not stop at the terminal, so I'm going to have to be vigilant to hop off the bus along the highway near a part of Otavalo where I want to go and get a SIM card and not overshoot it, or I'll have to catch a taxi. Like, oh yeah, it has happened in the past because it was raining, I couldn't see, or I was in disbelief, I don't know. So I got my ticket, and including the fee to enter the bus area and a small drink that I might need, it was only $3.25. Not bad. So my cost for the entire day is $5.25 from the airport all the way to Otavalo. The ride from the hotel that was only less than 2.5 miles from the airport was free. It came with the room. So it's a really good day in Ecuador. Side note, Verizon really sucks, and it's only allowing you to make calls and no data. So yeah, don't waste your money on it. Get a local SIM. I am traveling with Cooperative Espejo at number 8. There's a different bus here. I have roughly 20-25 minutes to wait. So I asked, and they said that yes, indeed, this bus will stop at the terminal. So maybe it'll be easy peasy, short walk to Plaza de Panchos. It's not the end of the world. I've been there before. When I get to Otavalo, I will get a local SIM and stop dealing with this horrible and expensive Verizon service. Bueno, aquí. I made it all the way to Otavalo and Boulevard Square, and I just got through buying a new SIM chip. Sorry I didn't share how. So getting the SIM chip is super easy peasy. I said necesito SIM por Claro, and they installed it. And then I said, y paquete un mes, 30 días. And they showed me the sheet and let me pick my plan. So I was greedy, and I picked the 20 gigabyte plan for the month. It was $15 plus $4 for the chip and the initial data that came with it. So I am definitely solid. Even if I have bad Wi-Fi, I can surf and share all I want. So hope you enjoyed this adventure to Ecuador. It's kind of crazy. I've heard a couple of people say that they managed to slip in 2 days after me, but I question that. I do know that the rule is still in effect. Who knows? But I don't want to waste what few pages I have in my passport with more exit and re-entry stamps from Colombia anyway, so I'm happy to be here. It's all good. Now I'm going to go find something to eat and some real coffee to get the nasty taste of the crappy coffee I have with my free breakfast. Hey, check out the great new artwork. No more of the COVID era artwork, although it was kind of uplifting for that era. This is much more reminiscent of the artwork you would expect in Otavalo. It is very colorful and themed for the indigenous people that this city belongs to. It also hosts the largest indigenous market of the Americas. You guys might already know that. If you don't, yeah, you should come check it out. It's a really sweet place and extremely safe because the indigenous people have their own law here. By the way, I remember why I use local SIMs. It isn't only because they're cheaper. Verizon sucks. So does AT&T or anybody else you use in foreign countries. If you actually use the data, use mapping apps or Facebook or anything, it's terribly slow compared to the native local SIMs. And I found out because, well, I waited until I didn't want to buy the sim at the airport because I know it costs $45. So I waited till I got all the way to Otavalo. In here, it was $4 for a new sim, which comes with a few days and data. And I went ahead and charged up for 30 days for an additional $15 with 20 gigs, which is more than enough. Because I know that Verizon, AT&T, and everybody, T-Mobile, you name them, no matter what they say or what people lie for them that don't really use the internet, they draw you down at around 10 gigabytes or so, make it impossible to ever reach 20 gigs in my personal experience. And I've used them all at one point or another. So, pro tip, get that local SIM. You won't be sad. I remembered why I do it, and it's not just to save money, it's to get a lot higher quality experience. Plaza de Panchos looks like business as usual. It is kicking. There is no slowdown in sight. That's it. I haven't seen any tourists, or at least gringo tourists. But there are plenty of other people frequenting the plaza and shopping the wares. In my opinion, this is a great time to be in Ecuador and avoid the crowds of tourists. Or read that, gringo tourist and the European tourist. It's actually quite nice, maybe quite nicer. So this is Ecuador. Looks pretty peaceful, doesn't it? That's because it is. You don't have to be in a big city. The choice is yours.